Disconsolate.
Alan Thompson claims it. It was a well-struck shot, venomous, and it flew in off Dazou's knee. Redford spreading the ball wide, and Nicky Eden loves to join in these sort of situations. And there's plenty of movement ahead of him. That's Andy Liddell. Nicely controlled. Here goes John Hendry. There might be something here for Barnsley. Near Redfern! One back for Barnsley. Excellent play between Liddell and the new signing Hendry. The cross turned out to be perfect for Redfern, the captain. This is good play again from Barnsley, and Hendry bowled over by Taggart, and the referee again points to the spot. Well, maybe he's made up for the one in the first minute of the match, Mr. Bailey. It's Neil Redfern. It's 2-2. Beautifully struck, and he makes up for the one he missed against Palace a week ago.
To get over the shock of 2 defeats running, Dave Bassett went shopping last week. His new £1 million striker, Neil Shipperley, didn't score, but his presence seemed to inspire those around him, especially Bruce Dyer, who scored the first and constantly troubled a Grimsby side outclassed in the second half. David Tuttle's swinging right-wing cross was headed in by the Australian striker, Carl Veyart. Palace had overcome any confidence crisis. Their third goal was two-touch football at its best. Roberts' free kick, Dougie Friedman's finish, 3-0, 3 points and third place. They're a mess at Molineux, but Wolves' away form is keeping them among the contenders, along with the amazing Steve Bull and that little bit of luck. Manchester City controlled possession, but squandered chances at Main Road. Youngster Jeff Whitley's shot was the closest City came, before the raging Bull celebrated his 400th league appearance with his 280th goal. Kit Simons made a mistake, but how Bull exploited it to win Wolves the match and their 5th away league game. And Bull broke another record in the process. He's now the leading scorer in West Midlands football history. Tranmere Rovers have shown a happy knack of recovering from any setbacks. After his side were beaten at home by Queen's Park Rangers, John Aldridge dropped himself, an inspired piece of management. Jed Brannan's wonderful shot rewarded Tranmere's controlled first-half performance, and they were comfortable winners from the moments the Ipswich got in real trouble. Ian Moore seemed to have wasted the chance, but Moore persevered, and his cross was eventually turned into his own nest by Tony Vaughan. Ipswich were booed off at the finish. Stoke began just as they had against Sheffield United 7 days earlier. They conceded a goal from a corner. Lee Bradbury's goal and the Charlie Chaplin routine that followed it were the highlights of Portsmouth's afternoon. Fitzroy Simpson was sent off for a second bookable offence. There were still 35 minutes left, ample time for Stoke to exploit their extra man advantage. Jerry McMahon, the Northern Ireland international, thumped in his first goal since signing from Spurs. Kevin Keane became an increasing influence in midfield, and when his pass fell for Mike Sheeran, Stoke's top scorer claimed his 12th of the season in off Adrian Whitbread. Stoke and Sheeran hadn't finished. They crowned their recovery with another well-constructed goal. Sheeran's pass put McMahon through to make it 3-1. It seems Howard Kendall is Blackburn Rovers' choice to succeed Ray Harford. All the speculation didn't do his current side too many favours in the first half. Steve Slade's second goal in a week rewarded Queen's Park Rangers' enterprise. But Sheffield United's non-stop endeavour eventually brought them an equaliser. Gareth Taylor scoring 7 minutes from the end. But will Kendall be Blackburn's new boss later this week?
With all the things that are going on here, I don't want another saga like on-off situation of people being unsettled, the fans and everybody else. I've made it quite clear today, and I'll make it clear now to you, that Howard Kendall is staying at Sheffield United.
I mean, it's flattering, really. You know, I can't stop that. My chairman can't stop that. I mean, if the press want to link me with other jobs, I mean, I can't do anything about that. But until he tells me that there's been an official approach from Blackburn Rovers, if there's going to be, I've got no comment to make.
These two teams don't like each other much, and the first Reading-Swindon derby in 2 years was bad-tempered and going nowhere in particular until goalkeeper Frank Talia brought down Reading's Trevor Morley. It seems referees are not deeming that the red card offence they did earlier in the season. Talia was booked and then beaten by Morley's penalty. 5 minutes later, Morley had scored again. Barry Hunter flicked on the corner, and Morley made it 7 for the season as Reading moved to within 2 points of their local rivals. Port Vale rather like the McAlpine Stadium. In its 2-year history, Vale have won 3 times at Huddersfield's new home. John McCarthy scored, and Vale comfortably protected that lead. At the Valley, Charlton started the day second from bottom, but they played like a team who know they're in a false position. Mark Kinsella ran onto David White's wonderful flick to score his first Charlton goal. Their second within 90 seconds was equally well worked. This time it's Brendan O'Connell with the back heel, and Carl Lieburn puts the finishing touch to John Robinson's cross. 2-0. For the first time, Alan Buckley endured a backlash from West Brom's fans. His team have won just once at home in the league this season, and failing to beat struggling Bradford was too much for some supporters. No goals at Oldham, which wasn't that surprising. Southend's last 3 games have ended in goalless draws, and there were few chances for either side. Oldham's Stuart Barlow missed one of the best. If they can't do it now, they never will. Birmingham City have the owner, the stadium, the fan base to be upwardly mobile, and at last, the people's choice as manager. This summer, the second city's boy wonder came home.
Oh, there it is, 1-0, Trevor Francis. McFarlane has come away to meet him. And that's Francis, he's got to get one. He has. Trevor Francis.
When the opportunity came, I didn't hesitate to say no. I mean, there's a couple of occasions I've been asked to come back, but I didn't feel it was really right. I think the main reasons were that I was always asked to come back as a player manager. I didn't fancy doing that. You know, I had some great memories here. I had a great relationship with the fans. I didn't want them to see me in the twilight of my career. I prefer, if I was going to come back as just a manager, not a player manager.
Isn't there a big risk, though, now, even so, that you might tarnish what was such a great image? You are taking a risk.
Very much so. I mean, I'm prepared for that. But if you can tell me a manager's job where you're not taking a risk, I'd like to know what it is.
But the dice are loaded in his favour. Mid-table they might be, but Francis brings out the soft spot in Birmingham's difficult supporters. Still warm in the afterglow of King Trev's return, the recruitment of Steve Bruce as player-coach, and the arrival of £2 million worth of Premier League talent. After problems with the local council, it's the owner, David Sullivan, who's not felt wanted, but Sullivan now seems happy to stay.
I really feel that with the support we've got, the ambition of the owner, David Sullivan, you've seen the improvements here that's taken place at St Andrews. It's only half finished, but when it is finished, it's going to be a magnificent stadium, and that's some of the reasons why I want to be part of it.
It's interesting, though, in this division particularly, maybe, that Wolves have spent money, but no guarantees are going up. Derby had maybe similar problems when they spent a lot of money under Lionel Pickering. Do you think money has less influence in this division than maybe it does in the top division?
Depends how you spend it. I think that money helps, undoubtedly. You know, I speak to various managers in the league who don't have money, so they're very envious of perhaps Mark McGee or myself. But you know, it's no guarantee.
It's easy to forget that Birmingham was just the beginning for Francis, who left to become Britain's first £1 million player under Brian Clough, to win 2 European Cups, to make his fortune in Italy, and who now says he has nothing to prove as a manager. There was a tough initiation at QPR, but his 4 years at Sheffield Wednesday included 2 cup final trips to Wembley.
There are moments in management that I really enjoy. I think the latter part of my time at Sheffield Wednesday, and I'm only talking about the last 6 months, when the crowd was shouting me out, and the last few weeks I was fighting, you know, to try and keep the team in the division. Those were tough times, but I think that you know, you're living in a fantasy world if you go into management thinking that those times are never going to arrive.
Mike Walker will vouch for that. He's another of the returning heroes now back at Norwich, and his side arrived at St Andrews second in Division 1. The commentator is Peter Brackley.
Adams getting away from Ablett. Scott's in the middle, Johnson arriving and Eady in there too. And there was Johnson. So often he makes these well-timed runs from midfield. And that was a perfect example. Here's Bowen. Again hovering just behind the front players. He's the link between midfield and attack. Now this could be promising, and goes Devlin! Castle with the cross, and Devlin with the most incisive piece of finishing. Johnson. Taking on Gary Ablett, and the penalty has been given. Neil Adams will take the kick, Norwich's leading goal scorer this season. And he scored. Norwich back in front, Neil Adams. Adams taking the kick, and it's forced in too by Keith Scott. 3-1 to Norwich. Bowen. Devlin, turned well, and a striking shot into the corner.
In a frantic finish, Birmingham might have equalised. Instead, Francis saw his team spurn chances and lose their unbeaten home record. Norwich looked more like the finished article, but that doesn't stop Francis believing his team will be contenders come the spring.
I think it's rather premature to be talking at this moment about Bolton and Norwich perhaps, running away with the league. I think that after Christmas, and even possibly towards March, we'll have a better indication of just who are in a good position to get promotion.
Bolton drew, Norwich won, so the leaders are now just 1 point ahead. Norwich are still 6 points clear of Crystal Palace and Wolves, who both won. Vale move into the top half for the first time this season. Charlton's victory over Oxford lifts them above Grimsby and Bradford, and means that despite their draw with Southend, Oldham are now 5 points behind at the bottom. They're the Premier League leaders, but Arsenal struggled at Stoke last week in a fixture that revived memories of the club's 2 FA Cup semi-finals in the early 70s. At Villa Park in 1972, Arsenal even lost their goalkeeper, but still managed to hang on.
And now Charlie George with Bradford in the middle. Bradford is outnumbered, still Charlie George. And really it wanted the cross, and it's not away yet. Armstrong hitting one, and a goal! George Armstrong! Arsenal ahead! And little George Armstrong has done it! Eastham with Doe being the sort of man to prod and probe the weak points, and Wilson goes in, and Smith has got there. Dennis Smith has equalised. Eastham in for Dobing. No, against the post. Greenoff, no. And Wilson cannot go on. He is appealing in vain to the bench to come off. And I think they have got to take Bob Wilson off. It looks as though it's Radford who's going to go into goal. It'll be Marsh with the kick. 3 minutes plus injury time left. Oh, Greenoff! Oh, he's saved that well, Radford. Smith turning it across and behind. Good play by Radford. Smith shot the win behind, but Radford was the hero in that situation.